We could very well end up having a friendly takeover of Cuba.
Well, what about the revolts there?
After many, many years, we've had a lot of years of dealing with Cuba. I've been hearing about Cuba since I'm a little boy, but they're in big trouble. You know, they have no money, they have no oil, they have no food, and it's really right now a nation in deep trouble, and they want our help. The Cuban government is talking with us, and they're in a big deal of trouble, as you know. They have no money, they have no anything right now, but they're talking with us, and maybe we'll have a friendly takeover of Cuba. We could very well end up having a friendly takeover of Cuba.
Well, what about the revolts there?
After many, many years, we've had a lot of years of dealing with Cuba. I've been hearing about Cuba since I'm a little boy, but they're in big trouble, and we could very well, something good, I think very positive for the people that were expelled or worse from Cuba that live here. You know, we have people living here that want to go back to Cuba, and they're very happy with what's going on. Well, Cuba is doing very badly, and they're failing. Cuba right now is, to put it mildly, a failing nation, and I've been hearing about Cuba. I said before, since I'm a little boy, I've been hearing about Cuba, and everybody wanted to change, and I can see that happening. Marco Rubio is dealing on it, and at a very high level. And, you know, they have no money, they have no oil, they have no food. And it's really right now a nation in deep trouble, and they want our help.
Donald Trump's shocking statement on Cuba. Is Cuba next after Venezuela? Is Washington preparing for regime change? The remarks come as Washington increases pressure on Havana. For decades, Cuba has stood as one of America's longest-running geopolitical rivals. Now, the idea of a friendly takeover has sent shockwaves across Latin America, a move that could reshape the Caribbean. The remark also came after Cuban Coast Guard killed 4 on a Florida-registered boat just days ago. The incident has sharply escalated the already volatile situation between Washington and Havana.
A U.S. official made a big claim regarding the boat strike incident involving Cuba. According to CNN, the U.S. official claimed that Cuba's forces fatally shot dead 4 people, one of whom was a U.S. citizen. He also claimed that another American national was injured and is now receiving medical treatment in Cuba. A third person had been in the United States on a visa, while the remaining individuals may be legal permanent residents, the official said. Remember, Cuban authorities had said all 10 were Cuban nationals residing in the U.S. Cuba had said it killed 4 people and injured 6 aboard the speedboat on February 25th, claiming that all the 10 people on the boat were planning an infiltration with terrorist aims in the communist country blockaded by the Americans. The Cuban Interior Ministry had said the passengers were armed with assault rifles, handguns, and Molotov cocktails. The incident took place after the Cuban Coast Guard intercepted a Florida-registered speedboat when it entered its territorial waters, 1 nautical mile off Cayo Falcones on the country's northern coast. According to the Cuban Interior Ministry, a passenger aboard the boat fired at the Cuban patrol vessel, wounding its commander and prompting Cuban forces to return fire. The shootout comes amid rising tensions between Cuba and the United States, which have both opened investigations into the incident. Cuban President Miguel Díaz-Canel said that Cuba will defend itself with determination and firmness against any terrorist and mercenary aggression that seeks to affect its sovereignty and national stability.
Right from the start, Cuban authorities have been in touch with their U.S. counterparts, including the State Department and the Coast Guard, about this terrorist attempt. An investigation is underway to clarify the facts with the utmost rigor. The Cuban government is willing to exchange information with the U.S. government on this matter. Among other requirements, we will request information on those involved, the means used, and other details from the U.S. authorities through the mechanisms in place between the two countries.
U.S. Secretary of State Marco Rubio had already threatened Havana with appropriate response.
So this morning, we were made aware by Cuban authorities of an incident off the coast of Cuba. We immediately began to look into it. As it stands now, the Department of Homeland Security, the Coast Guard, others are involved. The majority of the information we still possess is what Cuban authorities are providing both the public and the U.S. government. We have our embassy on the ground in Havana working this as we speak, asking for access to the people that were on those vessels, if they were American citizens or permanent residents. According to the Cuban regime, that the boat was registered in Florida. We're tracking that down. We will know shortly, and we will know quickly, many more facts about this incident than we know right now. The majority of the facts being publicly reported are those by the information provided by the Cubans. We will verify that independently, and as we gather more information, then we'll be prepared to respond accordingly. I'm not going to speculate, because I'm not going to opine on what I don't yet know, but we're going to find out exactly what happened here, and then we'll respond accordingly. Okay? Any questions?
Have you been in touch with anyone in Cuba? I mean, what's your...
Well, the authorities in Cuba, the border guard has constant contact with the Coast Guard, so they alerted them this morning. I was made aware of it at that time. Oftentimes in these incidents and things like this, the initial reports are incomplete, and then as the day has progressed, I think early this morning, certainly by 9 a.m. or 10 a.m. this time, maybe a little later our time here, I reached out and we began to look at it independently. We have various different elements of the U.S. government that are trying to verify elements of the story based on what's been provided to us now. I know that the Coast Guard has responded to the area, to the vicinity. I'll need to get more fidelity and understanding from them once I get on the airplane about what exactly they're looking for. I don't know who has possession of the vessel, which is the first thing we would want to have. We obviously want to have access to these people if they are American citizens or U.S. residents.
Have you spoken to any Cuban officials about this?
No, we haven't spoken directly about this now. No, I'm not going to comment about any conversations we've had on this topic. Suffice it to say, what it's important to be out there and everyone needs to know is that we're going to have our own information on this, and we're going to figure out exactly what happened. And there are a number of things that could have happened here. But I'm not even going to, I was about to say, I'm not even going to speculate as to what it could have been. It's a wide range of things. But suffice it to say, it is highly unusual to see shootouts in open sea like that. It's not something that happens every day. It's something, frankly, that hasn't happened with Cuba in a very long time. But we're going to find out. We're not going to base our conclusions on what they've told us. And I'm very, very confident that we will know the full story of what happened here, and we will know it soon. And then, we'll respond appropriately based on what that information tells us. Cuba needs to change. It needs to change dramatically because it is the only chance that it has to improve the quality of life for its people and not lose 15% of its population since 2021. 15% of the people of Cuba have left since 2021. That is not a system that's working. That's a system that's in collapse, and they need to make dramatic reforms. And if they want to make those dramatic reforms that open the space for both economic and eventually political freedom for the people of Cuba, obviously the United States would love to see that and would be helpful. If they decide they're going to dig in and just continue forward, then I think they're going to continue to experience failure, and the people of the country are going to continue to suffer, and it'll be the regime's fault.
What the Cuban people should know is this, that if they are hungry and they are suffering, it's not because we're not prepared to help them. We are. It's that the people standing in the way of us helping them is their Communist Party. That's who's standing in the way. If they move out of the way, we're more than happy to work with individual Cubans so they can have an opportunity to feed their families and build their economy. But we are not the impediment. They are.